Hello everybody and welcome back. We are going to discuss something that many of you might find boring, but I do not. It is the cornerstone of how to build a successful closed loop of factories. What you want to know is, what can I build so that my main production facilities can produce all the time? So how do I make sure that these four are supported by these indefinitely? Well, this is 4, this is 1, what the hell? What's going on? Well, settle down. This is basically quite easy to understand, at least for basic factories. Now, the vast majority of the factories in X3 are producing something useful to you, like missiles or ammunition or weapons or something or another. Well, all the factories that do not have a size qualification in their name basically are producing at the same rate, at least insofar as their dependency with each other. So maybe your 2 gigajoule shields will be only produced like 1 every 2 hours, and your 1 megajoule shield will be produced much faster than that. But when you want to build an interdependent chain of products, so you want to go from energy cells to Agno beef to meats de cajunas to shield production facility, because shield production facility requires, in order to work, energy cells or and meats de cajunas. So what have I done here? I've given 4 shield production facilities only 1 meats de cajunas. Why? Well, that's because we have what we classify as factors. Factors is how we balance the factories with each other. If we know what the factor of 1 factory is, then we can give it equivalent factors of another factory production, and that will balance them in a chain. Let's make this a little bit more simple with actual numbers this time. So we have 4 here, and they do not have a size. They do not have S, they do not have M, they do not have L, they do not have XL. That's the little chart here. These are the sizes. So this doesn't have any, that means it's an S. It's easier to say it's a small size than to say it doesn't have a size qualification. That gets too long-winded, way too easy. So this is a small because it doesn't have it, a qualifier. A small will produce at a factor of 1 and require resources at a factor of 1. That's important. Everything this requires is at a factor of 1. It will require 1 meats de cajuna, 1 ore, and 1 energy cell. Again, 1 factor. How does meats de cajunas make? Well, this is the size L, and according to our chart, the size L is 5. So that produces 5 meat steaks. So Cajuna Bakery produces at a factor of 5. So it can support 5 factors. This is 4. This is 5. What does this mean? It means that the meats de cajunas are right now overproducing at 1 factor. I have 1 factor of extra resources that are not consumed, and that is why my CAG is selling them, which is quite fortunate. There it is. It is actually selling meats de cajunas right now. That is true for everything in the game. That is why the Agno beef here is an L, because LL, they balance each other out. So Agno beef produces just enough Agno to feed the same size meats de cajunas, or the same factors again. Because if I had 3 of those, if I had 1 L and this was an M, then I would have to go M is 2, so that's less than 5. Let's have 2 M's. Well, 2 M's are 4, that's still less than 5. Okay, let's have 3 M's. 3 M's is 6. Yes, now it's not exactly balanced, but at least I do have sufficient production from the Agno beef to support 1 L meats de cajuna. That's how you need to think about those things. That is true for the entire factory range, except for some very few differences that we will discuss later, because they are way too esoteric and way too numbers, and I get very excited, but not many people do. So mosquito missile factory, that requires meats de cajunas and ore. Again, this doesn't have a size. This is an S. This is a 1 factor requirement, so we just need to balance it on the requirement part. So it requires 1 factor. So if I supply it with 1 factor of meats de cajunas, that will be happy, meaning that in my hub that I have 4 shields eating 4 factors out of the 5 I'm producing with the mid stakes, I could actually throw in this mosquito missile factory in there. That mosquito missile factory would be quite happy and would not need any more mid stakes. My hub has all it needs. Wheat farm M, cattle ranch M, these are factor 2s. So the wheat farm M, if it goes to a fuel distillery L, no, fuel distillery L will not be satisfied by just one wheat farm M. It will need again, because wheat farms, you're gonna have to find either an L wheat farm or give it 3 of those, whichever is cheaper for you or more convenient. I don't know. And that's all there is. Just take a look at the sizes and try to match their consumption and production. Having said all that, this is the most easy way to actually solve that problem. This is a problem called Zedrian. You can just go and download it off the web. It's not hard to find, and you launch it and you are greeted with this. You want to build a new factory in Argon Prime, or maybe you want to find where the most suns are, because that's a 150, this is a 100, and this is a 400. And what does that mean? Well, I'll get to that a bit later. But for the very, very, very basic information right now about Zedrian, the more sun percentage there is, the faster it will produce E cells, which is power, and the faster it will consume crystal. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want to find where the most silicon is. Whoa, that's a lot of silicon. Jesus. Or maybe you want to find ore. Well, again, that one. Wow, Sabbath Spur. Looking good. Strong layer. Wow, yeah, maybe I'll go there next time. Sure. Maybe you also want to find Invidium. Or ice. I want to build something in Argon Prime. Let's go. Cool. It already knows what sun it is. Awesome. Let's add some things. Let me add some cloth, right? I want argon cloth times M. I don't want too many of those. Let me add also another 200 megajoules shield production facility. And I want maybe energy pulse chain guns because I like those. And I want to produce a lot of ammunition for that. And I actually want 2 of those. So there we are. What do I do now to balance all of those so that they have what they need? Because I open that. Wow, I have a lot of requirements that I do not need. So I need 5,400 energy cells and so many mid-stakes and so much nostrum and so much ore and oh my god, this is way too much. So what do? Nothing. Just hit that button and immediately you are given everything you need and you just lump, 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 lump and add them all together to your hub. And it even tells you how much that will cost and even calculate your complex construction kits to join everything together. And now everything is balanced and we even have some surplus that we can buy off. Oh, we have some sunrise flowers that, we can profit from. We have, this is what you want to build and the rest is just gravy. It's just added for your profit. You don't even have to do anything. And not even that, not only do you not have to do anything more, but you can just even find out where the fuck everything is. Just go there, go to Kingdom and buy that bowcaster you want. Track it down here. That, I build one. Oh, awesome. I don't need anything else. Cool. Or just print it off on this side and scratch this out. I don't know, but there it is. That is the most simplest thing to do and you are already there and you're done. However, it still didn't calculate ore and silicon wave because these are another issue altogether. If you want just, make a new complex, add some ore and silicon wafer products of your sectors and make sure that the surplus that they are producing more than you need, and that's how you balance that. If you're interested to find out though how you can balance that with math, then stick around. Otherwise, thank you for watching and keep safe. For those that stuck around, here is how you balance your shit. Now, we have basically the factors because we all know them and love them. What we need to figure out, which we cannot immediately, is the ore and silicon wafer productions. They are on a class of their own for various reasons. Let's start by some principles that we're going to have to understand. First of all, the ore and silicon mines produce on the principle that no production cycle on its own will be less than 60 seconds. Any mine in the game will have a cycle of more than 60 seconds or very close to it. No mine will have less. That is the design thought behind that. The basic cycle time takes the base time that we need for the ore and then divides it by yield plus 1. This yield plus 1 is very, very important, and what this basically means for the rest of our calculations is that we cannot add yields together to get the exact one we want. If you require, by some method, a 25 yield asteroid, but you do not have that yield asteroid, you cannot just go, I'll just add a 12 and a 13 and have the exact same number. In fact, the 12 and the 13 will produce more than the 25 will. Then you have the multiplier, which means how much the products will be multiplied by here, because the cycle time will be the basic cycle time times the multiplier, and that will increase me above 60, because 29 times 3 is that. And of course the products need to also increase by the multiplier, because that's how you increase in products. If you start with an 8 ore, you only produce 5, but if you go to 12, you produce 10, and if you go to a 20, you produce 15, and if you go to a 40, you produce 20, and that's how the cycle time remains over 60 seconds, but you do keep on producing more and more and more, and that can be seen here, 30. All of this is increasing regardless of what the multiplier is, because we don't care what the multiplier is right here. It's just gonna be what are you producing. However, there is also another thing. Each ore you produce and each silicon you produce will always be the exact same requirement in energy. One ore will always need 6 cells to be produced. If you produce 20 ore, then that means it will require 120 E cells to be produced. Doesn't matter. All of these will be cheaper in E cells. Absolutely. But this is still 6 E cells per ore, just as this is, just as this is, just as this is. All of those will require 6 E cell per every ore they produce. Same with silicon. Every silicon you produce will require 24 E cells. That is not going to change ever. And that consistency helps us to build our requirements for balance, while also giving us a factor of their own. Just like we have M2 and L5, the mines have these factors for them. Pay attention to the fact that these mines produce more than these. Ore mines and silicon mines need always to be variant L. Do not build the variant M. There is no fucking point. What are you doing to yourself? There is only so many asteroids in the game. Why are you limiting yourself by building smaller factories that you cannot replace? If you build a size M mine, you cannot do anything about that. You cannot deconstruct it and get the asteroid back, and if you destroy that mine, you destroy the asteroid, and that asteroid is always forever and ever gone, and you're not getting it back. So do not build size M mines because you are producing less than you need. Yes, they are much more expensive, but just be fucking patient and build size Ls. You have a finite amount of asteroids in the game. Use them to their best of their capability so that you benefit from it. If you have a build mission telling you to go build a mine and it's a mine M, tell them to fuck the fuck off and you do not take that mission. Go find another mission. Never build yourself mines that are not L. Let the NPC fuck up the universe. You do not contribute to that fucking situation. Thank you very much. With that rant over, this is the factors. So if you require from a factory like a mosquito missile requires ore. The mosquito missile requires ore in the factor of 1 because it is a size S. 1 factor for ore, whereas 1, 1, 1. This is not enough. This is enough. So all I need is a 5 yield asteroid to feed 1 mosquito missile factory. This is how this is used. And if I have 5 mosquitoes, then I can either go and use exactly a 25 yield asteroid, or just if I don't have a 25, just add these somehow together until you get to 5 or more. You can use 235 plus 255, that's not 5, that's 4.90. So an 11 and a 12 will not work. In the 12 and a 13 to get just over 5, and that will support 5 mosquito missiles. Now we move to the last factor of the balance. What is it? E-cells. We have discussed the factors themselves, we have discussed ore and silicon, and now we have to discuss about power. Solar power plants come in 3 sizes: medium, large, XL. They will require crystals, of course, to produce stuff for us. This requirement also follows the same factors as before. So an M-sized solar power plant requires 2 factors of crystals. So an M crystal fab will supply 1 M-size solar power plant. Easy peasy. It's not very hard to understand. It's exactly the same thing as before. There is one thing complicating solar power plants. That is, the sector they're in has different sun radiation. So that's expressed in the percentage you see of the sectors. Some sectors have 100% sun, and some sectors go as high as 450% sun. When the sun radiation rises, that means that it produces more E-cells and it requires more crystals. We start by the requirement to build up the balance we need. So let's assume, for example's sake, that we place an XL-sized solar power plant in a 300% sun sector. That makes its requirement for crystals 16.666 factors. What does that mean for crystal fabs? Well, crystal fabs come in 2 sizes, M and L. In order to fit 16 factors with using 5 and 2 factors, the basic, most easy thing to do would be to just say, I'll have 3 size L, so 3 times 5, 15. That still leaves me with 1.6. Well, that fits great with a 2, so another M. So 3 L's and 1 M will cover my requirement for crystals. And that's done. We note this down, what we need. Now, what does the crystal fab require? The crystal fab requires exactly the same thing as before. We do not need it to run full time. We just need it to run enough to keep the solar power plant happy. That means we can just calculate it of a 16.6 factor again. So we need the 16.6 silicon mine factor. Let's find out what the 16.6 silicon mine is. We go all the way down the list and we find that 16.6, that's not good enough. So we need a 17.14. That means that 17.14 is at an 85 asteroid. Finding an 85 silicon mine asteroid is kind of hard. So what we should do is just add up all factors until they are to 17.4. That's again not very, very easy, but we could just add yields. That's the simplest thing. By looking around the universe, you find that actually you can have a 36 asteroid, you have found a 36 asteroid and a 25 and 24, and you can add all of those from one sector into a complex. Now, if we go, let's see, 36, that adds up to 36 and 24, and 25, that equals 85. So we are set. Let's verify that. 36 yield asteroid, silicon asteroid, will give me 7.38. Awesome. Again, do not use M's. Never. Thank you. 25. 25, there it is, 5.16. Look down, 24, 4.95. Write down. Together these two give me 17.49. That's over 16.6. I'm fine, I'm happy, and once again proven that adding yields does not equal the same thing. Yes, if I had found 85, it would have given me 16.79 something, if I remember correctly, but this is much, much more. This is almost 1 whole factory more in silicon. So we have that set again, 3 more L factories. Great. Now, what else do crystal fabs require? Crystal fabs require food. What's food? Well, depending on what crystal fab you chose. Maybe you chose boron crystal fabs, or maybe you chose argon or telladi. I don't know. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just match them. If you bought boron crystal fabs, buy boron food. If you bought argon crystal fabs, buy argon food. But the sizes are the same, and that's why this factor works brilliantly like that. Match sizes only, then decide on price or preference or rank, or maybe you're playing your own RPG game which says, I'm only gonna build boron anything. I'm not gonna build anything else regardless of what's going on. Awesome. Way to go. More power to you. So what do you need for food? Let's say this is an argon factor. What you need is meat steaks. So how do you match your food here? Well, crystal fabs L require L's meat steaks. So that's the Kahuna bakeries. 3 for 3. I have another crystal fab M, so I add another one M. That's not L, that's M. And these, of course, require their own products. They need cattle to make the meat steaks Kahunas. Again, match them. L to L, M to M. Which is that again? M. Jesus, I can't crack. M. So we match them. And we add factors all together. Because now we need to figure out their power. This is everything we're gonna need for the Excel and the mine. These are the mines, which are gonna feed into crystals. The cattles are gonna feed into Kahuna bakeries, and the Kahuna bakeries are gonna feed into crystals, and the crystals are gonna feed into the Excel. That's everything. What are their total factors? 15, 5 times 3, plus 2, 1 times 2, and so on and so forth. All of that equals 66. Great. In order for this thing to run, to produce, we need 66 factors of energy. Awesome. What happens to energy? Well, the energy is completely different. Solar power plants produce way more than anything else. They have their own production factors. An M-size silicon power plant will produce 18 factors of E cells, which is large. The XL we build will produce 92 factors when placed at a 100% sun. These are all calculations and factors true for 100% sun. When they are more, they get increased by the same formula we use for the crystal consumption of the solar power plants. So, where was it that we built it? On a 300. 300. That goes in there. So, that XL power plant will produce 153.3 factors of E cells. Does that meet the requirement? You fucking bet it does. So what we are left with is 87.33 E cell production to feed anything else we want. And everything is balanced to a very nice degree, with a few liberties just in case. We have a slight overproduction of silicon wafers. We have a slight overproduction of anything else, of crystals too. And because they are like that, they are actually quite balanced. But in the end, that XL will keep on producing forever and ever. And as long as we take it away and feed it to other things, it will keep on running. And that is how you balance your loop. Yes, it is a lot of work, but at least now you understand something more. And I think any player for X3 is someone who wants to understand the reasons behind it. We don't play X3 solely because it is one of the best space games out there. We play X3 because we like all those interactions. We like our game. We like that complexity, and we enjoy it. And now you can enjoy it too. Thank you very much for watching, and keep safe.